All right, Ben, help us master the wedge play.
You know, a lot of my knowledge about wedge play comes from my old boss, and I know your good friend and brother in Christ, Mike Bender. If you think about the great wedge players to ever live, one of them that comes is one of Mike's students, Zach Johnson, who in '07 laid up on every par 5 at the Masters and birdied 11 of the 16, right? Yeah. Great wedge player. But let's just think more about the history of great wedge players. A lot of them have similar ball flights, and most of them are low. So let's think about this. We got a highly lofted club, and the great wedge players hit it low. So how is that, right? How can they hit low wedges, most of them hitting draws, and have the ability to control not just the distance, but also the spin? Yeah. So let's talk about that and maybe even give a good drill for it as well. So again, we got a 60-degree wedge here, and the great wedge players have been measured, and they launch it at 30 degrees. So how do we take a 60-degree club and get it to launch at 30 degrees? Well, here's the analogy I like to give. If I took this club and leaned the shaft and had it drive on a train, that ball would be collected on the face and launched lower. Too often I see people when they want to hit low wedges, they get steep, the ball rolls up the club face, and they actually do the opposite of what they want. The ball goes too high. So what we need to learn how to do is how do we scrape the ground or collect the ball on the wedge? And you know, I just think of the story of Zach Johnson. When I watched him hit wedges once down at Mike's place on TrackMan, it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. He hit 12 wedge shots, and the total of his divots taken were that big. Wow. It was the ability to not just launch it low, but just really scrape the ground. And so here's a great drill that we have here. Again, I'm not the one who originated with this drill, but when you use it with that idea of how do we get this club to kind of drive on that train to launch it low, really gives us some good feedback on how we launch our wedges. So here's how we set up this very simple drill. 30 degrees, and if you go back to your geometry class, never thought we'd use that in 10th grade, right?
I'm in trouble.
So if you do the math, it's actually 5.5 feet away and 3 feet high. If you do that, that's 30 degrees, but you know what? That seems a little too precise for me. So I like to use 6 feet away and 3 feet high, which is really simple. It's 2 steps and about waist high. Your waist is about half the size of your body, so it's 3 feet high. And so here we go. This is actually a little lower than 30 degrees. My goal is gonna be, can I bruise the ground or clip this ball off this grass, clip that tape, and hit my wedge? And to do that, the first thing I think about is, well, I gotta play that ball a little bit further back. Now, anytime you play a ball a little further back, that ball's gonna wanna shoot out to the right a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and open my stance because I'm playing it back. The second thing I gotta do is I gotta keep moving, because if I stop, this club's gonna wanna pass and I got too much loft. So let's see how we do. We got the ball back a little bit. I'm gonna keep turning through this wedge, try to clip that tape. I actually hit it even a little too low on that one. And again, the great thing about this little trajectory tape drill is I get great feedback. It's like having a homemade TrackMan, right? What a great way to have a $25,000 tool that you can use with 2 alignment sticks and some surveyor's tape, right? But this is giving me insight on how I'm launching that wedge. So if I can clip that tape, I know I'm launching that ball in a similar fashion every time. That's gonna make me a better wedge player and be a lot more predictable.